It's in the way. Today, it's the Shabbat Shalom, right? It's the Sabbath before the Sukkot. For those that don't know, the tabernacling is at hand, right? This is this is when you build your tent, you camp out, you spend some time in the wilderness, seeking the Most High, getting a relationship together. So I've been having this thought for a long time. I've been working on it because I'm thinking about it. I don't know why. Like, who controls thought? Where does, yeah, the mind? Where is the mind? Is it in the head? Is it outside the head? Is it both? I don't know. There's so many people. I've read so much commentary on mind and thought, right? So I could get it together. I still didn't get it together, but I ain't done. Anyway, so I decided, well, I'm not even sure if I decided again, right? Back to the mind. Who decided this? Just following what the mind is doing live. Am I doing the right thing? I don't think I am. Oh, well, I'll do this anyway. Oh, I gotta set that right. Gotta set that right. It ain't set right. There we go. See that? Oh yeah. There we go. So we're gonna get some of these, right? So we're not trying to do fitness like trying to be a teacher, just doing fitness. Just setting the example, living the example, the fitness journey. Whether you're doing resistance training or not. So I gotta get this. My wife says it's over here. She put it there last night. Oh, that's why it's here, because it feels like a bench. Check it out. Check it out. Live. Doing it live. Watch. Check this out. We're going to do this live. See if this is there we go. All the drama. All the drama. Let's see. Let's see. So, the hardest thing, one of the hardest things to do is count the reps and tell the story at the same time. It's hard. So I decided I'm gonna do 10 and I'm gonna get the story going. I'm gonna do some plank and I'm gonna say, we're provoking Israel to jealousy, right? It's a new method. Bride and groom, dancing. Check that out. That's 20. That's 20, bro. Going live. Resistance training. See, the text reads something like this. Seek God, resist the devil, and he'll flee. That's the point. It's the seeking God, right? What does that even mean? How do you seek God? So we got all these religious traditions trying to tell us how that's done, and then they just want our money. It's like your actions speak louder than words, right? These buildings that people go to and they call it the church, I'm going to church, they say. It's like, how do you do that? If you're in the church, how do you go to you? Like, okay, I get in the car and I'm over there and I drive over to me. Something crazy like that, right? It's like, man, you can't go to church. That's the first deception, the first lie that they introduce, right? Is the going to church. How do you do that? How do you do that? So it took me years. I'd be getting up on Sunday, going to church. Well, church. Now, here. So, because there's three, right, gathered, does it have to be in the same geographic location? I don't think so. Because see, there's this thing, it's called quantum mechanics. I'm not sure if you know, and believe me, I'm no expert, but I do know this. When the thing is not observed, it acts differently. I think it's the atom. I'm not sure what the thing is actually called, right? They got two things, and they both wiggle at the same time, no matter how close or apart they are, right? They wiggle at the same time. We're trying to figure this out still, and our science is still so far behind. Then you add in this, right? Think about this. The God particle. What is that? It's like, okay, so what I'm trying to get at is this morning, good day. Let me read those names real quick. Is that Caden Williams, JW, and Yadel? I like the Yadel. What is that? I'd like to know what that actually, what that means, Yadel, because the yod is so important. We've left the yod out. See, the yod is a letter, and it's a little thing, like it's like a comma, but it's up on the top, right? It's not down on the bottom, it's up on the top. So when you look at the yod, right, you get into the alphabet, aleph bet, right? Aleph bet. So we're talking about a different language here. And believe me, I'm no expert in that either. I'm not trying to be an expert in anything, just the kingdom of God. That's what I'm working on. It's learning what the kingdom of God on earth looks like, how that it can be shown, right? Shown. So Israel, taking all our money, right? Taking all our money. They've been in the land for over 70 years. There's people, I'm not certain, but I suspect, right? 70 years, that's a generation approximately. People have been born in Israel and died, and there's no temple. They've been living there, born there, and died there. No temple. Think about what that means. So America, right? I'm so thankful to have been born in the United States of America. My genealogy, when I look back, right, I try to trace it back. Of course, they might call that something, right? They got a name for that. Whenever this type of people does anything, you can't have this type of people, officers association, right? You can't have this type of people, officer association. It would be considered systemic, right? But whatever, I don't care. I ain't interested in their terminology, just exposing that, So we're going to the facts, right? Provoking Israel, that's our job. This nation, our job is to provoke Israel to jealousy so they return to the Most High, right? This is important. I try to give this lesson a few times and people, why do you keep going? It's like, so I get a few comments, right? Yeah, I get a few comments, and that's okay. The good ones, the bad ones, the ugly ones, I don't even care. So, provoking Israel to jealousy is like our main job. But you know what we're doing? We're enabling Israel. We're enabling them from relying on the Most High. We've turned them into a welfare state. They don't even know it. Like, they think they're above us, and they got, like Donald, he's been like, kind of like, I don't know. It's just weird. The relationship between our senators and APAC or CPAC, whatever they're called, these Israeli lobbyists. So they're coming in there. Anyway, they think they control us, and it's like, bro, it doesn't even matter. If you think you do, or if you do, it doesn't even matter if you don't. The whole idea is that you're supposed to be relying. You're supposed to be relying on the Most High for your sustenance, just like Abraham. See, Abraham wouldn't take the pillage of war because he didn't want it to be said that his wealth was generated by anybody other than the Most High. That's Abraham. They ain't that at all, right? And so you can call it whatever you want. This is just the deal. And there's a few people that are pointing it out, that are saying, hey, you know what? We love Israel, but just like a child, they need to grow up and be independent. They need to, do their thing. But now, they can't do their thing right. They ain't built the temple yet. Think about this. The most important thing for Israel is the presence of fire. The presence of fire. That means that from heaven, fire came down and lit up the altar, the menorah. It goes into the holy place. It lights up the holy place. There's not even a holy place. And this, and I've said this a lot, and I'll probably have to repeat it 1,000 times. The menorah is sitting out on the street. It's sitting out on the street, unlit. It's in this glass bubble. It looks like a figurine that you'd buy at one of these retail stores. You go into the shelf and you buy your little menorah. It's got this plastic thing around it. Take it off the shelf. You take it home, put it on your shelf. I got my little menorah trinket, toy thing. What a collectible, right? So you go to the. Look at. I've been trying to work on that. Anyway. You go to the Temple Institute in Jerusalem. They got all. When I first went, they were just a little cubby hole in the Jewish quarter. You go in, it's a little place, and it's all dusty, like it's kind of old looking. But they got the silver trumpet there, and they got the David's lyre looking thing there, stuff like that, right? It's interesting. Then you go over on a little bit further over, and they got this place where they say, right, it's the tomb of David, right there. And you're thinking, you call this place here, right, Jerusalem, fine, I get it. But this place, Temple Mount, drawn, you're talking about narrowing down the latitude and longitude of the place that Solomon built this temple. This is so important. So when you look at the threshing floor of David, you can go right on ChatGPT. It'll give you latitude and longitude of the threshing floor that David bought. And then you give it the Temple Mount or the Roman fort, right? Antonia. You give it Antonia. So you give it both locations, right? Give me the geographic location, the latitude and longitude of both sites. Or if they're the same, show me the latitude and longitude. Whether they're the same or whether they're different. Yep. The numbers are not the same. They're close. But it ain't a bullseye. It ain't a bullseye. You hit the dot, right? You hit the dot right on the spot. This is the threshing floor. There's the Gishon Spring right there. Matter of fact, you know what's funny? Is that Gishon Spring, from what I understand, and I didn't actually walk down to see it. During the time when I went to Jerusalem, I wasn't aware of the threshing floor of David. I was still under the delusion that the Dome of the Rock, that they call the Temple Mount, was the spot. I was under that delusion. I thought that. I believed it. I didn't know any better. 30 years. 30 years of Christian doctrine in and out of different congregations, pastors, right? It's like I had never It's like most of them hadn't even been to Jerusalem. And then when you talk, oh, this one is really dope, right? You start talking about the place of a skull. So we're talking Jerusalem. I gotta let Kidders Itters in. Come on, Kidders Itters. Come on, Kidders Itters. You go in there, Kidders Itters. Thank you. I don't need this outside light on anymore. Anyway, it's gonna be a while. I get it. I'm in no hurry. This journey is a long, long journey into eternity. Eternity's a long way away. And it's right here, right now, at the same time. So far away, so close in hand. Who could understand? Who could understand? Anyway, so I put out a marriage type video this morning. Give my wife a hand for helping me out with that one, because like she didn't want to be in any of my videos. But this one video, oh, hold on. Excuse me, we gotta go do something. Right? We gotta go do something. Keeping alive. So we're trying to do a well, not what we're trying to do, we are doing. We're doing a live and we're talking about the marriage, right? So Israel doesn't seem to have had their temple built, right? This is really important. And it's sad to see. So I got company, right? I got these two guys right here in front of my house every day. It's the true story about cats, right? You feed them once, they don't ever leave. But they're starving, they're meowing the whole time. Look at this is what's happening right here. You see that? Well, let's see if we can get that close. I don't know. Right there's pretty good. There she is. Anyway, you boys gotta make a move. Lead by example. See, taking the text, unfolding it, living it, becoming it, and understanding it, it's quite difficult at first, because when you start to go, right, when you start to go to find, to seek God, right, when you first go to seek God, your intentions are as follows. What did my mom and dad do? It's true, and it's okay. It's not bad. The problem is, see, the problem begins when we rely on that too long, and we haven't studied it out ourselves and get our own salvation. See, people rely on like, well, I got baptized when I was a baby, and I'm in this religion, right? This is my religion. It's your parents' religion, your grandparents. What if it's wrong? Don't even consider that, right? Just accept it as it is. Hey, that's what you want to do? That's fine. I had to go down that path for a little bit. But you know what? After a while, you have to learn. You're an adult now. You're an adult. Or at least you're of age. I'm not even sure if you're an adult yet. Because this one guy, we were at the employer, let's say, right? And I'm outside the gate waiting for the lead guy to come in to unlock the gate and get things started, right? He's the lead guy. That's his job. Get things started. So I guess he decides to call in sick that day. So I'm standing there waiting. Guys start coming. Gate's all closed. One of the guys, he walks up and he's like, you know, anybody can unlock this gate. We're all men. And I looked at him like, and I'm thinking, I don't want to say nothing, because it was like, okay, there's a lot of people here. And sometimes I got fire, right? And I say something that'll offend everybody. Even though everybody's thinking it, you say it, and then all of a sudden their mind goes from what's he talking about? Oh, I can't believe that guy just said that. So I got that, right? I get that a lot. I say those things, not to hurt anybody's feelings, but I think point out the obvious. Somebody's got to do it. Anyway, so I'm thinking, right, about what he said. We're all men. And I kind of know a story because he's told me about the way he lives. And I'm like, man, is that what he calls being a man? Like, opening the gate, that means manhood? Because you choose to open the gate? I'm like, I don't even know how you compare that to manhood. Anyway, so I drive over to where he's working at later on because I'm a little disappointed. He's like trying to say because I didn't open the gate, I'm not a man. And I really don't care, right, what he has to say exactly. Not that I don't care like in a bad way. It's just like it was just one of the things where it's like, you need to hear it. You need to get this. You need me to tell you this. You need it because what you're calling a man and what I'm calling a man are not the same. If you're going to the dictionary and you're looking for the definition of what a man is, fine, right? Unlocking this gate doesn't prove manhood at all. But anyway, so I had that conversation with them, right? Pointed out, like, okay, what are you calling a man? Because I want to know your definition of a man, because, am I living up to it or not, right? Just out of curiosity, I wanted him to answer to that statement. And he's like, he gets all, like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Right? It's just simple. So, had that conversation with him. I'm not going to go into the details because it's not that important. Like I said, I didn't care that much. But he needed to be checked on what he's saying a man is. Because if you look at his lifestyle and the story he tells, it's like, man, if that's what being a man is, I ain't interested. I ain't interested in that. So I'm looking to God, right? Yeshua, Yahweh, the name that they took away and they said it's too holy to be said. That is the one that I'm looking for, right? So Paul says, the unknown God, I'm bringing that one to you. Because they hid the name. They try to take it away. They think it's good that we don't trample it, right? Use it irresponsibly, right? So they become the guardians of the name. We don't get it because we might mess it up, but not them. They're not gonna mess it up, right? Like, what you men? What are you, more of a man than I am? And so I can't have it because I'm just a boy, right? I'm just a boy, and that's fine, right? But think about this: if the Most High wants me to know His name, He'll come to me Himself and tell me. I don't need those guys to tell me what a man is or isn't. I don't need those guys to tell me the name. I don't need them to pass it down. I don't need that. Some people, they need that. They need to rely on their parents' stuff. They rely on that. And that's fine. Hey, to each his own. But I'm here to do my life, right? My life is going to be like this morning. This is this morning. Let's see if we can find this morning. This is what this morning looked like. Just out of remembrance. Let's see if we can find it real quick. Yeah, we can find it. We just got to type it in. Ooh, bombing it. Let's see if we can find that. Shorts. Oh, right here.
It's a stunning story of the bride and groom. They're dancing, living the parable of the mystery of the Most High. So we frame it just like Paul said, the sign of the church. When you frame it.
That's this morning. I'm sorry. Let me back up. Last night, me and my wife go out. It's the first time she actually suggested that one of the videos we did together, I could put it into my channel, right? I could bring it in and introduce it. See, I would like to bring men and women together, but see, because of the content, it kind of pushes women away a little bit because Women don't know what they're looking for in a man anymore. They're kind of like misguided, especially by feminism. They're totally misguided. If you get raised in feminism, you get so diluted on what a woman is, let alone what you're looking for in a man. It's like those two items, what I think, right? The whole idea for men and women is that opposites attract. This is nature. This is the way it works. But as soon as you make them the same, they're like, magnets. You put the two magnets of the same, I don't know, what is it called? Magnetism. And it's like you can't, you're trying to force them together and they're like, I don't want to attach. But as soon as you flip that magnet over, it's like pop, it goes right to it. It goes right to it. It's just the way it is. It's simple. It's human attraction. Opposites attract. It's just the way it is. And we're talking about men and women. We're not talking about men. See, men, they shouldn't be attracted to men. They should be that, they can't come together thing, right? But they're forcing that. They're forcing that. They're forcing that thing. Like, oh, I'm naturally like this. Man, you're not. It's not natural to have sex. It's not natural. This is a contract, a covenant, a relationship in covenant. That's what sex is. It's the, what is it called? There's a word for it. It's the consummation. It's the blood. Like when the man and the woman consummate, the blood that's poured out that day is how you write the contract. That's how it's supposed to be written, right? This is why men are looking for virgins, because they're looking for a contract they don't even know about. They haven't even learned this. You try to teach some of these concepts, right? They're deep. They're deep. But I didn't learn this in the traditional concepts of religiosity. I learned this out in the wilderness when I left that place. See, I did this, I was moved on this song. I think it's called The Bible Belt is Broken, right? The Bible Belt is broken. See, the Bible Belt was important at one time because it brought people together in the community and they could teach the lessons that come from Genesis, that come from the prophets, right? The Torah, the prophets. So Genesis, the beginning of man, the Torah, the bringing of the law, then the prophets to warn us of our impending doom if we continue down a crooked path, and what would look like if we stay on the path to the Most High, something like that, right? And then that becomes so troublesome, they stumble in sin and can't get out of sin. Think about it. The whole reason for the tabernacle was to bring the blood of bulls to cleanse the people once a year. They did it on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur just passed a couple days ago. They think of it as a religious Jew thing, right? It's just not that. It is, but it's not that in totality. So that message that was brought through Moses is supposed to be shared with all the nations. Unfortunately, they've got it like this, hoarded it to themselves. Then they they actually take the name out of it. They're totally diluting it and polluting it with their concepts and their ideas that, we don't want somebody to misuse it. It's like, bro, if you misuse the name of God, what I would call Yahweh or Yeshua, the Yod, it's a fearful thing to be found in the hand of the living God, right? You start messing around with God, the living Yod, right? The little tiny thing that's like the beginning, the breath. You're going to deal with that. But you want to take that from people. That God being able to deal with the individual person. You take that from them. It's like, why would you do that? Well, you do-gooder? You do-gooder? Is that what you are? Do-gooder? You tell me what's good for me? I don't like that. Right? So I'm here in America, and these do-gooders, because we've got a lot of them here that want to bring, oh my God, it's like, there's so many things to stay on track, right? Sometimes it's hard to stay on track because there's just so many veins connected that once you go down this path, it starts getting deeper and deeper. And to get back to the original topic, it's quite difficult because it is so deep, but it's so simple too. Because see, look at if it's been made available to us, then it's expected that we're going to handle it wrong. We knew in the beginning, because we've learned from our history, that we fell short. So before that could happen, because the all-knowing, all-present baked into the cake, the ingredients, right? The salvation was already baked into it from the foundation of the world, that the Messiah would come and die for us, that his blood would be shed, that covenant would come. So we go through the marriage covenant, we learn that, and we're taught that. But then we lose that. So, I mean, you go back as far as you can to see all the errors that were made along the way, and then they pass that down. So we get all this baggage, the things that have been taken out that are probably the most important ingredients. Like when you're baking a cake, you just take the leaven out, the cake don't rise. And if you're trying to get that cake to rise, you got to have the leaven in there. And it only takes a little bit. You mix in just a tiny bit of leaven in it, and you mix it, and then poof, that thing pops, right? Not immediately, but you know what I'm saying, right? It does what it's supposed to do. So they take that all away. They introduce other, like, languages. So all these languages start coming out, right? And so the vibrational frequency that comes off your tongue comes from your tongue, off your lips, and it goes out into the universe is a sound wave. And when the planet is flying through space like this, right? Because the planet is flying through space, I'm not sure if you know that. It leaves a trail behind it. It's like carving a message, rewriting or writing on your CD-ROM. Back when we used to use CD-ROMs, get the CD. But instead of just a flat, CD, you're talking about a sphere that's leaving a trail behind it of information. A lot of trash, right? Mostly. You look at, until you learn how to camp, you go the first camping 101. You leave the campsite the way it was when you got there, with the exception of a couple things, right? Like the dust is going to be moved. The dust is not going to be in the same spot, right? There's going to be footprints that are going to leave it and come to it. There's always that. You show up, there's footprints there, but they're going to be different when you leave. But you don't trash the place. Even if you show up to a campsite and it's trashed, you collect the trash first. That's the first thing you do when you camp. You clean up the trash in your area because you're camping out there. You plan to be there for a while. You clean up the trash. You get the you rake it, sweep it, lay down your canvas or your before you set up your tent. You lay something down just to kind of like separate your tent from the dirt, right? You don't have to do that. Just one technique of going from cleaning up the campsite, making it ready, to building the campsite. It's like step 2, right? Step 1 is get the campsite ready, clean it up and prepare it. Step 2 is build it out, right? Unload your truck, put your tent up, or set your tent where you want it, set your ice chest where you want it. And people do these things differently. They have buggies and they're different stuff, right? Camping 101 though, back to that. You leave the campsite the same or better, right? So if you show up and it's clean, you leave it clean. But if you show up and it's a mess, you clean it up, right? And when you leave, it's that. That's your mark. You left the campsite better than it was when you showed up. That's Camping 101. Teach the children this. The first thing you do when you get out, you're like, okay, there's trash. You tell the kids, okay, everybody start picking up trash, because you're teaching them. Camping's so important. So the reason why I'm telling the story is because we're going to the wilderness. When Israel came out of slavery, they had to go to the wilderness to learn how to camp out, how to set up camp, right? And then the tabernacle moves. See, the Most High's presence would move, and they would have to pack up the tents, collect all the trash, and move to the next spot. The presence of the Most High would settle there. They would reconstruct the tent of meeting, and the presence of the Most High would descend and be present in the camp of meetings. People set up all their tents around in order by their different families. They had positioning, order. They were learning all this because one day they were going to go and occupy the promised land, and they were all going to have their own lands to care for. They didn't know this. They've been slaves for 400 years or whatever, right? They've been only a small spot, maybe a box like this, like they're trying to do here in the United States. They're trying to cram everybody into boxes. They want you to be in this little box, have nothing, eat bugs, and be happy. Something like that, right? That's their plan. That's not the Most High's plan. The Most High's plan is to take us out of those little boxes, take us out in the wilderness, teach us the principles of camping, so that when we get our own land, our own property, our own house, we know how to tend to it and be good stewards. This is important because one day that man is going to find himself a bride, and he's going to perpetuate that covenant, right? That covenant is so important when the man and the woman create covenant. So covenant has been broken. Believe me, I've been that guy. I broke covenant big time. I didn't know. I hadn't been taught that. My parents didn't know. They didn't have access to the information I have access to. Believe me, I got way more responsibility to this message than my parents do because they didn't have the access that I have. So I got to tell it. My dad, rest in peace, as they say, right, is buried here in National City. And he was a Bible reader. He wrote Bible stuff, sat at the table quite frequently, probably every day, writing different things. He'd pass them out to people. So he did what he could, right? He worked with what he had. And I got to watch my dad do that. He did his own thing. I did my own thing. But his dad abandoned him when he was probably 10, stopped really caring for him like a dad should. So my dad went on his own path. Reckless behavior because he hadn't been given instructions from his dad. So he came in and had me and did his best to teach me what he could, and thank God for that. All his good, bad, and ugly stuff that I had to watch and live through were examples of a dad sticking around. Just that, right? Like I did so many times. I pointed out the things that he could have did and should have did, and I forgot about the things that he did. Even the bad things, like, man, he did that? Why would he do that? And you think about it, it's like, oh my goodness, he just didn't know. He just didn't know. So we're talking about provoking Israel to jealousy pretty much. And so all these stories that, it's the greatest storyteller ever after the Messiah, right? So you got the Messiah. He's not really a storyteller. He's the embodiment of eternity. Everything's in there. All knowledge, wisdom, understanding, discernment, miracles, raising the dead, feeding. It's incredible. Who could be like that? Exactly like that, right? Who could do that? But the aim, right? The aim is to follow that path, to follow that example, to do our best to get on his path, right? So we got this wide, it seems like a wide road when you look at it close. But once you start getting away from it, the road starts getting narrow as you look down. You're like, oh my goodness, wait a minute, that's a long road. But it gets tight. It almost pinches together. If you look down the highway, right? If you've ever done this, you stop and you look down the highway and it narrows down like that, right? So this is the idea. We're like right here. All our sin and our absence of the presence and, just this worldliness and other people teaching us, being like the world. Here we are, being like the world. But once we look down the road and there he is, right? He's down there at the end, that tight, narrow road. He's like, here I am. excuse me, trek. You know, getting from this, like, man, I can't even see those boundaries. Way too far left. Oh my God, who wants that? Way too right. Oh my God, who wants that? He says, don't take the left hand or the right hand. Get on the straight, narrow path. And it's narrow, but it seems to look like this, right? When you get on it, you're like, oh my goodness, there's a lot here. Yeah, but look down there, man, it narrows down. Eventually, you're gonna start cutting all that fluff out of the way, and you're gonna get on that path, and the destination is it's gonna keep getting further and further away. That's the idea. Until we actually get there, and we are translated from this life to that life, or the manifestation of the kingdom literally, right? The New Jerusalem drops out of heaven, whatever that means, and is on the threshing floor, right? So the idea is this: David bought the threshing floor. It's still owned by David. Then you have other nations that have come in and warred and taken the land. But now that Israel's back in the land, that land has never been sold in Israel. Well, it hasn't been transferred from David to somebody else. We'll go that far. We'll go back to the documents that were, the Jebusite, I forgot his name, signed the documents selling the land to David. That hasn't changed hands. It's always been the documentation. There's no written record that somebody else purchased that land from the children of David. So if Israel's still in the land and that document surfaces, right, the children of David, their inheritance is that threshing floor. So we know that through Messiah, right, because it wasn't called for Messiah due to his bloodline to be priest, though he's the high priest. He's become the high priest of the Melchizedekian order, as it's written, something like that, right? So the land is still David's, Solomon's, their children, as far as we know. Now that Israel's in the land, Israel should be going back to documentation, Torah, if you will, and find out where David purchased the land, because that's where the Temple Mount is at. That's where the presence of the Most High is at. A lot of stuff to be said. A lot of stuff to be said. I think I'm going to stop there for now. There ain't much going on, but the story was great. Hallelujah. Yep, I got to go to the bathroom.